Welcome to Mission 3, Lesson 24. And our objective for this lesson is to determine whether a whole number is a multiple of another number. So, what we're going to be looking at today are multiples. We're going to be exploring multiples in this lesson. So we've looked at factors, and now we're going to look at multiples. So let's get to it. A multiple is a fancy way of skip counting. Think of it in that terms. If we're looking at multiples of a number, we are essentially skip counting by that number. So if I wanted to find, for instance, the multiples of 4. So if I said, hey, what are the multiples of 4? Well, I'm just going to start counting by 4s. So I have 4. I start with 4. And then, again, just keep counting by 4s. 4, 8. And what's next? 12. 16, 20, that's 20, 24, 28, 32, and we can keep going, okay? Now, and those just keep going on and on. You can keep going on and on forever, as long as you're counting by 4s. So these are multiples example of 4. So 4 is obviously a multiple of 4. 8's a multiple of 4, 12's a multiple of 4, 16's a multiple of 4, 20's a multiple of 4, 24's a multiple of 4, 28's a multiple of 4, 32's a multiple of 4, and I can keep going. 36 is a multiple of 4, 40's a multiple of 4. You can think of it in one of two ways. So if you can count by the number and end up on whatever number you're trying to find, it's a multiple. If you can multiply, you can also think of it in terms of, and this is just for 4s. If I wanted to find out if a number was a multiple of 4, I just need to ask myself, if I'm given a number, so 20, for instance, and if I was asked, hey, is 20 a multiple of 4, I can ask myself, is there a number I can multiply times 4 to get 20? Yeah, I can do 4 times 5. So therefore, 20 is a multiple of 4. Okay. Now, if you asked me, is 19 a multiple of 4? Well, no, it's not, because I can't do 4 times any number to get 19. And if you look here, if I skip count here by 4s, I do not end up at 19. Okay? So think of it in terms of skip counting, or can I multiply times that number to end up whatever number I want? Because you might be given a problem like this. Okay, they might ask you, is 27 a multiple of 9? So is 27 a multiple of 9? Well, what we need to determine is there's a couple ways we can do it. I'm going to show you both ways. We can just start counting by 9s. 9, and then 18, and then 27. Oh, ding, 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 ding. Yes. I ended up skip counting by 9s exactly on 27. So I know that, yes, 27 is a multiple of 9. Yes, it is. Now, another way you could look at it is, because that's great for smaller numbers. Where it gets a little trickier is when you start dealing with larger numbers. And so the second question I can ask myself is, can I multiply a number times 9 to get 27? Because that's the second way you can ask it. And that's going to be helpful, especially when you start looking at bigger numbers. Is there any number I can multiply times 9 to get 27? Yes, there is. I can do, let me just change colors here just for emphasis. I can do 9 times 3 and get 27. I can get 9 times 3 and get 27. So yes, that also lets me know that 27 is a multiple of 9. Because if I'm counting by 9s, I can end up at 27. And I know that how many times? 3 times. 9 times 3 is 27. Okay. Now, if we take a look at another example, is 20 a multiple of 6? Well, let's look at the two ways we just talked about here. So, for instance, I can start counting by 6s. 6, 12, 18, 24. Okay, I get to 24 and I've gone over. And I look, so I'm higher than 24 now, than 20 now, so I know I can stop. Do you see 20 if I count by 6s? Is 20 in there? It is not. So this lets me know that since 20 is not in there, 20 is not a multiple of 6, because counting by 6s, I can't get 20. And I could also double check this by doing the multiplication trick. So I'm going to ask myself again, can I do 6 times some number to get 20? Can you do 6 times a number to get 20? Well, I know 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 3 is 18. 6 times 4 is 24. There is no number I can multiply together to get 20. There is none. Boo-hoo. So if there is not a number, again, that you can multiply times 6 to get 20, then that tells us that 20 is not a multiple of 6. No, 20 is not a multiple of 6. So this is what we're going to be working on in this lesson, multiples. Right? Now, again, the difference being multiples and factors. Reminder from our previous lessons that a factor is when you have a big number and you're like, hey, what are the factors of that number? And you have to figure out everything you would multiply together. Any number that you can multiply together is a factor. But these are multiples. So always think of it in terms of this too. Multiples are going to be bigger numbers. You're counting up by that number. Factors are going to be numbers that are smaller than the original number. Okay, so you're just going to be working on multiples today and reviewing factors a little bit too. But good luck to you. And as always, if you have questions or need assistance, you can see me or your teacher.